We learned a lot from this year's Sao Paulo game between the Kansas City Chiefs and the LA Chargers. After getting swept the last 3 seasons, the Chargers exercised their divisional demon and beat the Kansas City Chiefs. In year 2 of the Jim Harbaugh era, it got off to an emphatic start as the Chargers were able to open up their run-first offense and uncork their budding superstar quarterback. After 2 quiet seasons, Justin Herbert seems ready to continue his superstar trajectory. After bursting onto the scene in 2020, going toe-to-toe in numerous matchups with Patrick Mahomes, but failing to beat him in all of one of his matchups, which dates back to 2021. On Friday, Herbert was aggressive with an aerial assault on the Chiefs defense as he diced up Spags' unit for 318 passing yards with 3 touchdowns, as the Chargers were able to pile up nearly 400 yards of total offense, which might have been the best game of Herbert's career. Justin Herbert was nearly flawless against the blitz as he found Quentin Johnson for the game's opening score. In the second half, the Chiefs got more desperate as Spags sent the house yet again. That wasn't enough to dispel the Chargers' offensive onslaught, as each time Spags sent the blitz, the Chargers were able to navigate and counter with something positive. On the game's most pivotal play late in the fourth quarter, Spags was smelling blood in the water as the previous play resulted in a Drew Tranquil sack on Justin Herbert, setting up a 3rd and 14. The Chiefs needed a stop to get the ball back and maybe have a chance at winning this game. But once again, on 3rd and long, Spags sent the house, but Chris Jones failed to seal the edge as Herbert was able to get around the former All-Pro defensive tackle and slide for the first down to ice the game. Once again, I want to say that this might have been the best game of Herbert's career. The stakes were high, especially against this particular opponent, and also having several months to fester over that disappointing playoff loss to Houston Texans last year in the wild card round. Herbert really did a great job in taking command of this offense as he had Steve Spagnuolo scratching his head all night long. It seems that Harbaugh's vision with the Chargers is slowly coming together. Last year he was focused on the run, but in this game the discipline and the organization appeared very evident as the Chargers were on point, locked in, and sharp compared to their sloppy play under Brandon Staley. All those Chargers or charging thoughts came into mind when the Chiefs were mounting a comeback in the second half as they cut the deficit at one point as large as 10 points to just a single point. But instead of collapsing and coming undone in years past, on Friday the Chargers held their nerve. Play calling by Greg Roman was on point, with the Chargers fending off every Chiefs comeback effort, as this seems to be a sign that the culture that Jim Harbaugh is bringing to the franchise is top to bottom. Switching it to the Chiefs, it's becoming more and more evident that Patrick Mahomes can no longer cover up the glaring flaws on the Chiefs roster. Dating back to 2023, thanks to the superstars' heroics, the Chiefs were able to win 17 straight one-possession games, but on Friday that streak was snapped. The offense looked sluggish for much of the first half, mostly thanks to Xavier Worthy's exit after a collision with Travis Kelce. We spoke about the pass catcher cupboard looking bare, especially with Rashee Rice's suspension for the first 6 games of the season, but without Xavier Worthy, the speed element of this offense was down to Hollywood Brown, who did perform pretty well considering the circumstances, but had a crucial drop on a 3rd down in the first half that brought a promising drive to an abrupt end. And despite Hollywood Brown finishing with 99 yards receiving, 47 of those yards came on one last gas heave by Patrick Mahomes, with Khalil Mack barreling down on him. The other 2 plays that gained more than 30 yards was a Patrick Mahomes dime to Thornton hitting him for a 38-yard gain, and a Travis Kelce touchdown to bring the Chiefs within 2 points. The offensive line was fairly shaky and provided no running lanes for their backs, as Mahomes was the leading rusher on Friday. This offense looked completely stale in the first half, once again finishing without a single touchdown. This time the turnovers weren't there like we saw in the Super Bowl, but once again, I want to say that the offense lacked sizzle. Mahomes tried to put the cape on and be Superman once again, running over dudes in the process and even taking it in himself to tie the score. But thanks to Harrison Butker's missed extra point, the Chiefs remained down by 1. This was part of a really sloppy night where the Chiefs accumulated 10 penalties, with 4 of them coming from offensive tackle Jawan Taylor, where he accounted for 2 holding calls and 2 full starts. And this just doesn't feel like an Andy Reid coach team. The defense seemed discombobulated with the Chiefs receivers as they were running open throughout the entire night, and really didn't seem that there was a lot of heat on Justin Herbert despite the absence of Rashawn Slater, who will be missing the entire season due to a season-ending injury. And it got so bad that Spags called blitzes that ended up proving to be futile. I also saw defensive backs colliding with each other in the field of play, as one of them led to one of Quentin Johnson's touchdowns. And you could even see some bickering between Drew Tranquill and Chris Jones after the latter failed to contain the edge, leading to Herbert's game-ending scramble. Mind you, the Chiefs have been a dynasty. The Chiefs are a team that made the Super Bowl 5 out of the last 6 seasons, with their earliest playoff exit being the AFC Championship game in 2021. That's a lot of tread on these players that have frankly gone through a lot of long seasons, and I'm sure that the wear and tear is starting to show itself. Even Mahomes can't do it all, and after several years of the division providing little resistance, this might be the year that the AFC West might finally be catching up with the Kansas City Chiefs.